Yeah, this guy.
I'm sorry. But going on to the next topic, Cavaliers point guard Kyrie Irving. A lot of stuff has come out recently ever since Stephen A. Smith came on First Take, ESPN First Take, and said that pretty much Kyrie Irving, Cleveland isn't the ideal place for him to be playing in. In his eyes, is not the ideal situation. And you kind of wonder if there's could be some factual proof to it, because Kyrie kind of talked on it yesterday, and he pretty much said that that's his dust in the wind or whatever. He kind of brushed it off. He didn't discredit Stephen A. Smith's statement, but he kind of just did as most players would do. When you're under contract to the organization, they're going to come out and say, "Darn right, I don't want to be here." You're gonna give your PC answer and keep it moving. But it kind of makes us ask the question: is Kyrie Irving the right point guard for the Cavaliers? Because throughout his tenure, before LeBron James came there, the Cavaliers have been a lottery team each and every season since they drafted Kyrie Irving, who was supposed to be the franchise player until LeBron James came back. So is the question is it valid? So we'll ask these guys to see how they think. Rashad, what do you think? You think Kyrie Irving is the right point guard for the Cavaliers?
No point guard where LeBron is the right point guard. It's clear and simple. There's no point guard wherever LeBron is. And this is not even because, because like you said, even when LeBron wasn't there, Kyrie was the Cavaliers was a lottery team every year with Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving did his thing every year, each and every year. Kyrie Irving had no help those years.
Mm-hmm.
So now you bring in help, but you bring in somebody like LeBron, who can at times when he feels like he needs to be ball dominant and run the point forward position. No point guard's going to work in that. Matthew Dellavedova doesn't fit in there. Mario Chalmers didn't fit in with the Heat because it's just LeBron. I'm not saying LeBron is a negative influence on the point guard position, but I just feel like everywhere you go, it's going to be difficult to find the perfect point guard to fit in a situation where LeBron needs him to, because at times LeBron is going to run that point forward position, and then that point guard position gets put to the side. Kyrie Irving still averages great numbers for what he does, but it's just anywhere LeBron is at is just that point guard. Anywhere that point guard is just, I just don't feel like is a good point guard for the system anymore.
All right, from the viewers watching, let me give Kyrie's actual stats since I forgot to do that. Kyrie's averaging this season, he's averaging 21 point, or last season when LeBron first returned back to Cleveland, he was averaging 21.7 points, 3.2 rebounds, and 5.2 assists. He was shooting 41% from 3-point range. And right now he's averaging 19 points, 2.8 rebounds, and 4.4 assists. Before LeBron came, in Kyrie's rookie year, he averaged 18.5 points, 3.7 rebounds, 5.4 assists. Kyrie's sophomore season, he averaged 22.5 points, 3.7 rebounds, and 5.9 assists. And then his third season, he averaged 20.8 points, 3.6 rebounds, and 6.1 assists. So those are his numbers, just for people out there that didn't know.
Can I say something about those numbers as well?
For the third year, 6.1 assists.
Can I say something about those numbers as well? Both of his years when he's under 20 points, he came off injury both of those years. He just came out of college his rookie year, fresh off the ACL injury. And then this season, he came halfway through the season off of his injury then. So his numbers are solid for when he's healthy.
He averages about 21 points a game when he's healthy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead, Colin.
To note what Rashad was saying earlier, I kind of agree that Kyrie doesn't fit into the scheme of things of Cleveland when LeBron's there, but I don't feel like that he takes over that point guard position. I feel like there can be a point guard to come into Cleveland and work well with LeBron. More so a playmaker, somebody who can get LeBron the ball in more pivotal times, but can also shoot. So who has good scoring ability or capability, and also who isn't going to be stingy with the ball. Well, not stingy so much with the ball, but is willing to give the ball up to other players so they can get their points. Mm-hmm. So I feel like more so a playmaker. If Kyrie was somewhat that, or more so that, then it would work better in the scheme of Cleveland, because then you can pull the pressure off of because Kyrie does pull pressure off of LeBron sometimes because of his great scoring, but then they can also pressure him as well, and then he may not be able to get the ball off or make perfect or make good defensive plays that'll help give LeBron like his positioning on the court.
Brady, can I say something real quick?
Go ahead.
Khalid,
Yeah.
you said you need to find a point guard that's a great scorer.
No. I said that has great scoring capabilities.
Great scoring capabilities. And then you just said Kyrie Irving's a great scorer.
Yeah, no.
So why is he not the right?
No. Because I said that he has to also be able to be a playmaker, a great playmaker that's not willing to hold the ball too long.
How many point guards do you think there are in the league that's like that? That's going to score 20 plus points in average.
Chris Paul.
You got money to pay him, man. What's his name?
And him and LeBron. I mean,
technically, it would work.
Yeah.
Love.
If you traded Kyrie Irving for Chris Paul, it would work.
And Doc Rivers going to do that?
No, it's not about. It's not about if Doc Rivers, but it would work. It would work.
Yeah.
Monetarily, they could make it work. If Chris Paul traded straight up Kyrie Irving for Chris Paul, it would work.
That would work for both teams.
I don't know about both. The Clippers, no, because Kyrie Irving is.
If Chris Paul is looking for that, looking for a battle like to go further in the playoffs, then it would work well in Cleveland.
Well, Chris Paul loves Los Angeles.
Yeah, that's probably
he loves the la weather, the la rain. he loves it all, and so I don't
he
think
want to move. He wouldn't move to the east.
Yeah, I don't think he'd be okay moving from Los Angeles to Cleveland, Ohio. Like,
kind of cool.
It's a little bit. Yeah, it's a little rough out there sometimes. But
a lot rough.
But getting back to what we were talking about, I mean, Kyrie to me, Kyrie's a conundrum because Kyrie has the handle to be he has the handle to be such a great scorer, and he has the handle to be such a great playmaker. Mm-hmm. The only problem is the man is not a great playmaker at all. Dwayne Wade is a shooting guard and has averaged in his career more assists than Kyrie Irving has. And Dwayne Wade's a shooting guard. And you want to talk about talent, Dwayne Wade's teams, arguably earlier in Dwayne Wade's career, some of his teams were a little bit rough. And so when you look at it from that way, he's a shooting guard. So you look at it that way, Kyrie and his career, his average assists, his career average of assists is 5.5. Dwayne Wade's is 5.8. And he's, like I say, he's a shooting guard. That's not something that you see every day. And it's one of those things that I think that Kyrie he fits with LeBron because he can shoot. Mm-hmm. He's a good scorer. But the only problem is sometimes Kyrie, in order to get his points, he kind of ball dominates a lot because he starts dancing around a lot. And so it kind of drains out the shot clock kind of thing while he's doing his little moves and everything. He's just kind of dribbling the clock out. So I've heard things people talking about like we just said Chris Paul would be a good fit in the Cavalier uniform because then LeBron could play more off ball. It won't exhaust him as much. The more Cavaliers will get involved in the action because Chris Paul is a pass first point guard rather than a shoot first point guard. So he would get his, but he's not concerned about getting his. He's concerned about getting everybody else involved. And it seems that as though at this point that you can make the case sometimes it seems as though the Cavaliers are better when LeBron is the point forward for the team rather than when Kyrie is actually running the point. Because Kyrie, when he seems to be running the point, sometimes other teammates aren't getting involved sometimes. And then LeBron, even when LeBron's a ball dominant player himself. LeBron dominates the ball as much as anybody in the league. That you want to talk about usage rate. That man LeBron is definitely on the ball a lot, but I feel like with a player like Chris Paul, just like some of the time LeBron was in Miami, he played off the ball some in Miami. Mario Chalmers was a good fit for LeBron because Mario Chalmers he's not a caliber point guard like a Chris Paul or Kyrie Irving, but Mario Chalmers did get everybody involved to an extent along with Dwayne Wade, and it allowed LeBron and Dwayne and Chris Bosh and everybody else to play off the ball. And I mean, when you look at their numbers in contrast, this season Kyrie shooting 45%. Or actually, this is career averages. I'm sorry, this is career averages. His career average, he shoots 45%, 86% from the free throw line, 38%. Like I said, he averaged 5.5 assists. Chris Paul's averages for this season, he averages 19.9 points, 9.6 assists, 38% from three, 89% from the free throw line, and 46% from the field. And he only averages 2 turnovers a game. That's crazy. Kyrie averages 2.7 turnovers. Chris Paul averages 2.6, but Chris Paul averages 4 more assists than Kyrie. And so that's pretty much for every 3 or 3.5 assists. That's he has a turnover. That's crazy. Chris Paul has the best turnover rate by far of any point guard in the league. So you look at that kind of thing, and you're sitting there, you wonder, man, could that be a situation they could look into? And especially if Kyrie wants to leave. I mean, and
there's rumors of unhappiness in the Cleveland, in the Cleveland franchise. Then yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So you could wonder if you could make the case that Kyrie should leave or shouldn't leave. It's all hearsay because nobody, apparently it's Stephen A. Smith. It's been rumored around for years or for ever since LeBron essentially came back, but nobody reported on it. Nobody said anything about it. So then you sit there and you're like, well, if he's been feeling this way, then what is going on here? And then you hear the things him saying that Tyronn Lue was like LeBron's coach, and him and Tyronn Lue don't exactly have the best connection. So you wonder if Kyrie, but to me, the way LeBron plays, Kyrie kind of fits into that. Would y'all agree with that? Kind of with the way LeBron, how ball dominant LeBron is, do you think Kyrie kind of fits into what the kind of player LeBron needs, like a player that can score off ball or a player that can relieve him of his duties when he needs it, like not necessarily to be a point guard, but to just kind of be able to
take the pressure off,
provide points in pressure situations. Do you think Kyrie is that guy?
I think it's worked for them. Like definitely is. Kyrie definitely takes that pressure off of LeBron because everybody will be focused on LeBron, but forget that Kyrie can shoot. So I think he definitely pulls off most of the pressure off of LeBron and helps in that offensive presence as well, and also helps shake up some defenses as well.
I mean, that just shows. I mean, it shows the LeBron's greatness because anybody on that team honestly is available for scoring when LeBron has ball dominant. You got Matthew Dellavedova in the game. He can knock the shot down. He can get to the basket. You got J.R. Smith in the game, who's erratic but still can knock down the basket and get to the hole. Kyrie Irving can. Kevin Love, when he stopped being scared like he's been doing lately, I don't know what's good with him. I mean, he's just standing there in the corner looking at the dude. So, I mean, when LeBron's control the ball, that's how you show how much attention he gets.
So, is y'all final vote Kyrie, yay or nay?
I don't think any point guard is good.
None of them.
None of them.
Not one.
Not Kyrie.
Even if Chris Paul is there, I still see LeBron. I just don't see.
But what is it about LeBron James that you don't think that he can fit for point guard?
It's just like his mindset. He feels like he's better suited if he's controlling the ball more than the point guard is.
But could you argue that he has never had a point? You could argue the fact that he's never had a point guard with his playmaking ability. Yeah. So why wouldn't he feel as though he's the better point guard option?
Because they're still point guards though. They're still they made it to the league for a reason as point guards.
But if they're not doing their playmaking,
no. But I'm saying they did make it to the league as point guards. You're right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The thing is, if you're a better point guard option than them,
so what makes you think LeBron won't think he's a better point guard option than Chris Paul in Cleveland?
Because Chris Paul has shown that he's a better playmaker than LeBron, or just as good. Chris Paul has almost every season.
Chris Paul over his career has averaged a great amount of assists.
And that's the thing. Chris Paul has shown that that's the thing. When you have a body of work and show it.
Okay, go ahead.
No, when you have a body of work and like Chris Paul, I don't think Chris Paul's even averaged, or he's never averaged under 8 assists in his career. And you could say that Chris Paul's had some sketch teams in the past.
Yeah, and that's where he made it work. But can you honestly say it's not easier for him to get assists in Los Angeles than it was for New Orleans?
No, it is easier because he has better talent.
Yeah. A lot of his shots come from oops. A lot of his assists come from alley oops.
That's because his playmaking ability.
That wouldn't happen in Cleveland.
Why wouldn't
you think so?
I mean, nobody's going up and get oops as frequently as Blake Griffin and DeAndre.
Well, I mean, of course not those guys, but you can still get oops with LeBron.
LeBron.
But it's not going to be as a significant amount. Especially if LeBron.
That's because he doesn't have another person
really
that can
as
grab
it would
that.
be a Tristan Thompson or Timothy Mozgov type player.
But that's the thing, we've never seen LeBron for point guard with the playmaking ability to see him in that role.
You see him running a pick and roll to the post.
LeBron played. LeBron did it in Miami. He did it in Miami.
As the fact that how DeAndre Jordan and Blake Griffin do it.
No, because DeAndre Jordan and Blake Griffin are post players, so of course they're going to be down there. But LeBron can run that role. He did it in Miami. He showed that he could do it.
That many moves coming from Timothy Mozgov and Tristan Thompson.
Not as much as those guys. But Chris Paul doesn't need.
He doesn't need it. You're right. He doesn't need. I completely understand. I completely agree. He doesn't need it, but a lot of assists do come from that now.
But Chris Paul averaged that many assists even in New Orleans.
And I just gave him credit for that.
But that's what I'm saying. So we can't say that
Even
oops are the reason why.
Because
it's making it a lot easier, but he still did it without the oops. That's the point. He's shown that even without alley-oops, that he still gets assists even before he got to the Clippers. He got assists through Peja Stojakovic, through David West, through Tyson Chandler, through whoever you want to name. He got assists through different guys without having to do alley-oops. Half-time his passes would be little check-offs and dump downs. Chris Paul, his playmaking ability is not just alley-oops. Yeah, alley-oops are just a product. Either way, alley-oop is just a more athletic version of an open layup. He creates that off of his pick and roll. If that's not an alley-oop, that's still just an open layup for a big guy. Alley-oop isn't exactly a more higher. It's just an alley-oop because they're that athletic, so it turns into an alley-oop. But if you have a less athletic guy, if you have a Timothy Mozgov, that could still be an alley-oop, or it could just be a little dump down pass and the guy just dunks it in, or a layup.
Yeah.
But you can't tell me just some of Chris Paul's oops are just throwing it up there, and DeAndre Jordan.
No, but he wouldn't throw. I'm telling you that he wouldn't just throw it up there.
And a lot of those,
but you still would. He would just pass it off, just like the Warriors do with Andrew Bogut and Festus Ezeli and Draymond Green. He would just dump it off. He doesn't need to lob every single pass up.
When they run that, they don't average as many assists as Chris Paul. I'm not taking away from what Chris Paul does. I'm just saying what's gonna be different in Cleveland than it would be in Los Angeles for Chris Paul. It's not gonna be the same.
It's not gonna be the same.
And he was in New Orleans, he was a lot younger too.
He was a lot younger, but you can argue that with better talent, your years aren't as utilized. You play to lighter years than when you're younger playing with harder talent. You have to work a lot harder. He doesn't have to work as hard to make the most of his better talent. When you're playing with
good talent,
you know what I mean? If you're playing with players that can play, that are accustomed to playing off ball with a LeBron James, think about it. If he went to Cleveland, he would just have snipers everywhere. And the LeBron can, is constantly moving to the basket. If he's playing off ball, like we saw with him and Dwayne Wade, and then you have Kevin Love.
Kevin Love can get more open shots.
I mean, Kevin Love get open shots now. LeBron's giving him some open shots.
And so he would make use of that.
Yeah.
I'm looking at his numbers. Chris Paul averaged his highest amount of assists in New Orleans.
Yeah, I told you I'm not taking away from what he did. In New
Orleans. I get what you're. I get what you're saying. You're not taking away from him. But what you're saying to me, I'm not getting it because you're saying that
he still wouldn't fit in.
You're saying that if you take away his alley-oops, he's not going to have his alley-oops and stuff anymore. But what my case is, he doesn't need to have the alley-oops to be Chris Paul.
But do you remember how dangerous Chris Paul was going to the basket when he was in New Orleans?
Yeah,
he's not the same. Like he's not
as dangerous.
He's not as he was in New Orleans.
Leave him open at the 3-point line.
Everything like that.
Leave him open at the 3-point line.
Huh?
I said leave him open at the 3-point line.
Paul's not as dangerous.
No, he's not as dangerous going to the basket as he was in New Orleans. Chris Paul getting old. Chris Paul is not as fast as he was. Chris Paul is
not as fast, but he's still just as crafty.
He's just as crafty, but
he's more polished too.
Attack the basket in New Orleans.
But Chris Paul, just because you get older doesn't mean that you all of a sudden are not a threat going toward the basket.
He wasn't a threat. I said he's not as dangerous as he was in New Orleans.
But he's still Chris Paul is one of the best pick and roll manipulators in the game. So when he comes off that pick, he can hit the mid range. He can go up for the layup. And
so are you just saying? I'm saying he's not dangerous. I said he's not as dangerous.
I didn't. I just said he's.
So you're saying he runs off the pick and roll. And
no, I'm giving you reason.
He do stuff like that anymore. I just said he's not as dangerous anymore.
For sure, I'm giving you examples. So
you're saying the New Orleans?
Like, what are you not? Are you not listening to me?
You're not listening to me.
I am listening. How am I even disagree with? I'm just giving you examples of how he still is dangerous as an older point guard. So when he goes to the basket,
you hear what you just said though? You said I'm giving you examples of how he's still dangerous.
No, I'm saying still as dangerous as he was when he's younger. Because if that's the case, then what made Kobe Bryant when Kobe Bryant was averaging still 27 points in his prime, and he was still dangerous. Falling out of his prime actually, and he was still dangerous going to the basket. He wasn't going to dunk on people, but he was still as dangerous. You adjust your game. Yeah, you adjust your game as you get older, so that you're still as lethal as a player when you get older. When Russell Westbrook gets older, he's going to have to adjust his game. We've seen LeBron has to adjust his game as he's gone older. Kobe Bryant did it. Chris Paul has been doing it. We've seen it from Chris Paul used to go to the lane and get attacked. Dwayne Wade especially has done it. We see Dwayne Wade isn't the Flash anymore, but he's adjusted his game and still shoots a high field goal percentage with his adjustments. So I'm not saying that I'm not saying that you're saying that he's not dangerous going to the basket. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that he's still just as effective because as you get older, these players know how to adjust their game and become more craftier as they get older with their age. Do you understand? You know what I'm saying? Just it's kind of like Tony Parker. Tony Parker's not the same young guy that he was when he was he used to be San Antonio when he was younger, but now Tony Parker's changed his game and relies more on that mid-range jumper, but he's still dangerous because he knocks down the mid-range jumper at a better clip than he did when he was younger. Just like players like Derrick Rose now and other guys are gonna have to adjust their game with as your explosiveness goes down, your quickness goes. I mean, that's part of what makes great players great. But I mean, I can understand what you're saying though. I mean, if you feel as though the lobs are going to be taken away, and he's not going to be as effective in Cleveland. But we can talk about that later on tonight, actually. But